The gates of Gaza could well be the gates of hell, and they were scrambling to get through them today. More than 300 foreigners allowed out of the enclave, heading to Cairo. And as they exit from the south, Israel's tanks enter from the north. Fierce battles as ground forces continued their push, with more devastating assaults from the air. And how is Hamas reacting to its new position as the world's worst terror group? We asked them. Can I confirm, just begin by asking you, Mr. Osama, you are a spokesman for Hamas?
Yes.
One of its most senior commanders speaking to 7 News from an undisclosed location. Hamas has always been committed to the destruction of Israel. Israel says it now intends to wipe Hamas off the face of the planet. How will this ever end?
Well, the Israelis are talking about wiping the Palestinians for 7 decades, and this did not happen. In fact, when they occupied the Palestinian lands...
Well, not the Palestinians, but the Hamas, your organisation.
Well, Hamas is a representation for the Palestinian nation. They couldn't wipe the Palestinians, they will not be able to wipe Hamas. The people, they can either accept the presence or to live under the Palestinian government, or they can live peacefully. We are not willing, and we are not planning to kill the people as the Israelis are doing to our people.
The situation in Gaza right now, just how bad is the suffering in there from what you're hearing and seeing from your people?
The situation in Gaza is as anyone is watching. The Israelis is committing crimes, a real war crime, real massacres on the ground. So our people are still to reach a day where no occupation is there to kill them every day.
But Mr. Osama, Israel would say that you, Hamas, launched the massacre on October 7, and that is what this war is about.
Well, this is one of the greatest lies in the history. Israel is occupying the Palestinian lands for more than 7 decades. What about the Palestinians who were being killed days before the 7th of October? What about the Palestinians who were killed in this year, before the 7th of October? I'm talking about more than 200 Palestinians were killed in West Bank. They were not fighting. They were normal civilians. They were seeking to have a life. The Palestinians were attacked by the settlers, killed, burning their houses. So this is the situation. It didn't start in the 7th of October. It started long time before that.
And it has a deep and troubled history, and I acknowledge that. But October 7 saw a new type of war from Hamas, atrocities that we've never seen before. Did you, the Hamas leadership, know this was going to happen? Did you approve of this type of hostility?
Well, the real change in October the 7th, that the Israeli army, who is considered the most powerful army in the region, one of the most powerful armies in the world, was defeated in this fight. Within a few hours, more than 500 soldiers were killed. Others were captured. More than 1,000 were injured. And some of them, they escaped. They ran away. So the image of this army was really damaged. Now they are making the revenge for the image of this army. But they know that the international community will not accept that, because this is an army, and this army is supposed to face such situation. So they start talking about the civilians, the settlers. Now there are hundreds of testimonies from those civilian settlers saying that they were killed by the Israeli army itself. So they created a big lie saying that Hamas killed the civilians, children, beheaded children, women were burned or raped.
Well, Mr. Osama, let me just say, so you're saying that a lot of the atrocities on October 7 were committed by Israeli army. Very few people, no one is going to believe that. Your men, your militia, were doing most of the atrocities on October 7. What I was asking you was, were you aware of that, and do you approve of that? Is that the new way that Hamas is going to carry out its military campaigns in future?
Well, let me say, the world is not listening for the Palestinians. This is why they will not accept our narrative. They are just listening for the Israelis. Even the Palestinians to speak. I think they came to the point which the Israelis have said before: the good Arab is the dead one. The good Palestinian is the dead one. Go deep in their narrative, you will find that they were lying.
You have said very specifically that a lot of the atrocities were committed by Israeli soldiers and not your militia. But the atrocities, you must acknowledge, that were done by your militia, do you condemn those atrocities?
Do you condemn what Israel is doing against the Palestinians? No Palestinian can talk about what had happened to the Israelis while he is watching his families being killed. We are talking about more than 200 Palestinian families who were wiped from the history.
Well, 8,000 Palestinians killed. There's a lot of death for Palestine. I understand.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair to ask this question for someone who has been killed by the Israelis. It's not fair to ask this question for someone, his family was killed yesterday and has been killed today also. It's not fair to ask this question for the Palestinians. You have to start from the scratch point. The problem is the occupation. The problem is the presence of the occupation. The right question is when and how we can make an end for this occupation. If that question was answered, I think most of the scenes which you are seeing now will not happen. For the last 7 decades, Israel couldn't defeat the Palestinians. In fact, they kicked out in 48, they kicked out more than 800,000 Palestinians. At that time, it was 80% of the population. Now, the Palestinians are equal to the Israelis in Palestine. And we have more outside the diaspora willing to go back to their home. And they will resist the presence of Israel on their lands. When we are talking about the end of the Israeli occupation, we are not talking about killing or wiping the people. We are talking about dismantling the state, the occupation state. We are talking about the army who's killing us to be dismantled. I'm not saying that we are undefeatable, but we are the people of Palestine. And those people of Palestine, no one can defeat them.